and a memento. Now may I request Mr. Sudhir Agarwal, Treasurer, Freight Forwarders Association of India, to please join us on the stage. Please put your hands together for him, and I request Honorable Captain Sanjay Sharma to present him with a sapling and a memento. We have Honorable Vivek Saraswat ji as one of our esteemed speakers. I request him to kindly join us on the stage, and once again I request Captain Sanjay Sharma to present him with a sapling and a memento and welcome him on this dais. Thank you. Without further ado, I hand over the stage to our moderator for the session, Mr. Shiv Kumar Rao. I hope you enjoy the session. Thank you.
Thank you, Asavari. Good afternoon and welcome to this session on the logistics sector. Thank you to all the panelists here, Dr. Brijesh Dikshit, Mr. Satyanathan, Mr. Vivek Saraswat, Dr. Swapnil Neela, Mr. Shailendra Kumar and Mr. Sudhir Agarwal for taking your time off and coming and gracing this logistics sector session. And plus, also thank you to all the audience here who have gathered for this wonderful session. This is the second edition of the Advantage Vidarbha. And this is an initiative taken by the Honorable Minister basically to attract industries to this region and see that Vidarbha is at the forefront of industrial development in this country. So for any industry to come to this region, apart from other factors, first and foremost is the logistics efficiency, the logistics cost, the logistics infrastructure. This is something that is most important from any industrialist point of view. In the inaugural session, we heard the Honorable Minister, the Chief Minister, as well as Mr. Sajjan Jindal from the industry talk only about logistics and how logistics is so important for them to actually transport the material, not only within India, but even for the imports and exports. Most of the industry traditionally chooses to be either near the production area, near the raw material, or near the consumers. In these times, particularly of Blinkit and Zepto and Big Basket, when they are aiming for 10-minute delivery, the consumer is pampered and everybody wants not only just in time, but as of yesterday. So in these times, logistics plays a very crucial role. And I mean, this is something which is the need of the hour, and the government is totally focused on somehow taking this, ensuring that the cost drops down. So they are in the process of creating infrastructure, trying to create efficiency in the entire supply chain. And it is for the private players also to now step up and take this forward. So far as the logistics infrastructure is concerned, it is the rail and the road. Somehow the road infrastructure has kind of very aggressively moved forward, taking away a lot of cargo from the rail into the road, although it is not so environment friendly. But yet, and somehow earlier it used to be expensive to transport by road, and that was the second option. But with the new roads coming up and new vehicles coming up, in many cases, like we see from Nagpur, cost of transport by road is working out to be cheaper than rail. But then there are multiple initiatives that have been planned, and I have an elite panel with me, and who are experts in the domain experts, who will share their ideas of what needs to be done. We have representatives from the government as well. We have Mr. Brijesh Dikshit and Dr. Swapnil Neela, as well as Mr. Satyanathan from the government side, to tell us the infrastructure,
proud privilege to serve Vidarbh and Nagpur for over 15 years in various capacities, including as DRM Nagpur. We are lucky that we are in Maharashtra, the topmost state of India. Take it GDP, take it GDP growth, take it industrialization, take it urbanization, FDI, export, longest length of road network, and etc. etc. There is a long list where Maharashtra tops. And in the areas where it does not top, it may be in the top 3. Indian economy, as you know, already doing very well. With that 0.25% interest rate cut today, I think the growth will further fly. Logistics are a derivative of GDP growth. The problem logistics is suffering not growth, but efficiency. How to bring up the efficiency and bring down the cost, go down from 14% to 10%, and then to some 7 to 8%. That is the goal, I think, on which all of us today have to think. As far as MSIDC is concerned, you know that it's a new corporation, is still trying to find its feet. Nonetheless, we are trying our best to serve in whatever capacity we can. The present projects which we have, we already doing a lot for logistics, in the sense that 6,000 kilometers of state highway roads and district roads are being upgraded by us. So while we have connected Nagpur to Mumbai, Pune to Mumbai, the towns, district towns, taluka towns, etc. are yet to be given a high quality connectivity, which this project is going to do. This is a HAM project, hybrid annuity model project, of 6,000 kilometers of road at the cost of about 40,000 crores of rupees. The second role which we may have, as announced by the Honorable Minister, that one national logistic mega hub is proposed between Nagpur and Wardha. and perhaps near Sindhi that dry port work has already begun. This has to come next to that, and MIDC has started acquiring land for that. But the other nitty-gritty of that logistic mega hub are still being worked out. And the one role which I am finding there is of shifting of the godowns of Nagpur city to that hub. And the godowns are the FCI godown in Ajni, then food grain godown in Cotton Market, and another food grain godown in Vardhaman Nagar. So while that mega logistic hub, I think, is still on the drawing board, the other things are in process. Also, what is being thought of for that in the Maharashtra logistics policy, I think you must have already gone through that. You are more knowledgeable about all those things than me. So, there are some specialized zones are to be there in that mega hub. And I heard Honorable Minister talking of some timber thing, and timber, bamboos, and that even electronics. The EMS is the sunrise industry in India today. So all of you must be belonging to one or the other sector, and we will look forward to that. In addition, MSIDC is doing a lot for the city of Nagpur and the other cities in Vidarbha. We are making a veterinary college in Akola. That also will lead to the development of the city. In Nagpur, we have the project of a new collectorate building, a new PKV convention center building, and perhaps the jail will be shifted out of the city of Nagpur to a location which is outside, and that area which will be released will be taken up for a holistic development within the city. Also, we have got a PKV land at Kachipura, now whose title has recently been restored to the PKV after a very long legal process. Even that area now will see further development. All these projects may be up to, I think, about 40,000 crore of project cost. So I look forward to a very, very productive association with Nagpur, with Vidarbha through MSIDC, and I am sure through these projects I will continue to be associated with the logistics of the whole city, and I am sure the other panelists here on the dais will definitely deal with those subjects. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. So thank you so much, Dr. Dikshit. So before I proceed and speak to the other panelists here, I would just like to share what the Honorable Chief Minister said during the inauguration. While he spoke at length about the logistics of Vidarbha region in terms of connections to the port on the eastern and the western side, while we are talking of moving the cargo from road to rail, he spoke about extending Vainganga from Chimur area, waterways from Vainganga river into Telangana, into Andhra Pradesh, and then connecting it to Visakhapatnam or Kakinada. So this will be a complete waterways which is being planned to serve essentially the town of Gadchiroli, which is likely to be the steel hub of India. So these are certain initiatives planned by the government. So I thought I'll just put this across to the panelists, because most of our discussion, Nagpur being landlocked, will revolve around rail and road. But this is something new that came up today, and therefore it will be of interest to all of us here. So while we move on and discuss more about how the infrastructure is planned, May I request Mr. K. Satyanathan to share his opening remarks and a few ideas on what should be done.
Thank you, Shiv, and thanks also for updating me on what happened in the morning session. Because I somehow missed it out. I think I should also thank you for having a larger audience than last time, which means that logistics is perhaps becoming a little more popular than what it was like last time. Okay, I think a few disclaimers right at the beginning. I am no longer with the government, so my opinion and my thoughts should not be treated as those of the government at all under any circumstances. So that's a necessary disclaimer. I think what we need to understand very clearly is what exactly do we mean by logistics efficiency and cost. Before that, let us also make one thing very clear. The countries which have really grown in terms of manufacturing are the countries which initially have first and foremost corrected their efficiency levels and also the connectivity to the world as a whole. At the end of the day, logistics is basically movement of goods. And movement of goods from a region which is producing it to a region which is consuming it. So, in order to make it efficient for movement of goods, it is necessary to have transportation, storage, and also the systems that are required to make the movement easy in terms of electronic communication, etc. Let's look at where Nagpur is situated right now. And while all these measures which have been announced will definitely make a big difference, there is one element that we are missing out. And that is the transportation of the goods from the hinterland, as Shiv has pointed out, which is what Nagpur is, completely landlocked, to the ports. And unlike Gujarat, I hope you are aware that Gujarat is the state now which is attracting the highest investment. Apart from political issues upon which I do not wish to comment, I think it is also the logistics availability and cost for industries in Gujarat which makes a huge difference. I hope you are aware that if you are transporting a 20 feet container from say Ahmedabad, Sabarmati, ICD to Mundra port, the cost is only about 10,900 rupees. On the other hand, you transport a container from Nagpur to JNPT, the cost is 22,000. And that's only the railway cost. I am not talking of the other costs which get added on. So under the circumstances, it is very obvious that if I am setting up an industry which involves a lot of export and import, I will go to Gujarat or the western coast of Maharashtra. I will not come to Nagpur. If you look at it, that is one of the major reasons why Nagpur has not been able to attract large investment, especially in the manufacturing sector. So that's something that needs to be corrected, which I hope my friend Brijesh will definitely look into to see how we can do that. Now, is there a solution to this? In my opinion, there's a very simple solution, and that is to create a dedicated freight corridor right from Nagpur up to JNPT. Today, a train takes roughly about 2 to 3 days from JNPT to reach, Nagpur and Nagpur to JNPT. If the same train could reach the port within 10 hours, imagine what would happen to the manufacturing demand in Nagpur. Any manufacturer sitting in Nagpur will be able to send it to the port in 10 hours, and thereafter it goes on to the ship to reach its destination. That will make a huge difference, and this is especially true of locations which are far from the port. With Vadhavan also now planned, which is going to be one of the largest ports in the country, it is necessary to have this kind of a rail connectivity, and it has to be through a dedicated freight corridor. One of the problems with Maharashtra is that it has got a fairly large rail network. Unfortunately, that entire rail network is controlled by the Indian Railways. By the way, there are 3 officers, ex, current and retired also, who are from the Indian Railways. But let me tell you something. Indian Railways have an outdated system of charging freight. It's based on distributed cost mechanism, and that distributed cost mechanism entails taking care of all the social obligations of Indian Railways, taking care of all the other costs of other railways which may not be very efficient. So you are not paying for the actual transportation of the material between point A to point B, but there's a network effect which works adversely for railway transportation. So as and when Mr. Dixit creates this dedicated freight corridor, I'm assuming that he will do it, he will have to ensure that it is not part of the Indian Railways. The charging mechanism, the freight rating mechanism has to be other than that of Indian Railways. Only then it will really help the industries in this area. And if you can do that, whatever is investment has been promised this morning, 10 times of that will flow in half the time. That much I can promise you. So if that is what you are looking at, then I think we are looking at a very bright future. I would also recommend that, we need to have this.
Gadchiroli material will go towards west rather than east.
No, you see, that is another issue which we need to understand. That, cargo cannot be forced to flow in a particular direction. Like water, it has its own flow, and it has to flow in that direction only. I will tell you a simple story. Higher efficiency. In the direction of higher efficiency, cheaper cost, faster transits, that's how it will flow. You can't really sort of make it move in a direction because you feel ki nahi bhai idhar se jana chahiye. It doesn't happen that way. Okay? Now similarly, you see the East Coast, while it is a good idea to connect it, via waterways, I was only discussing with Brijesh that, you see, one of the problems with East Coast is that not many mainline vessels are calling, even today. And as a result, what will happen is that the transits will get affected. They will have to undergo transshipment, etc. So that will not be something which will be a very viable proposition in the long run. So it is the West, whether you like it or not, it is the West Coast which has the larger ports, the better connected ports. So we will have to continue with patronizing them and working through them. To start with, I think that's enough, Shiv. Then we can carry on later. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Satyanathan. In fact, just two points in this. One is that while you spoke about the dedicated freight corridor that Dr. Dixit should create, there's one east-west freight corridor that is already planned and which is in line with the DFC of Delhi to JNPT. I don't know if there could be some mechanism which the state government takes up on its own first and then it is aligned with the central plans or something like that. We leave it to the politicians to decide. Is that the government can decide what to do?
If you are seriously interested in logistics becoming better, you see, one of the problems is we define logistics efficiency as a percentage of GDP. It's a wrong way to define it. Unfortunately, the National Logistics Policy also does it that way. You see, what it reflects when you say it's percentage 14% of the GDP, it means that logistics as an industry is contributing 14% to the overall GDP of the country. Now, if you look at China, the logistics contribution is 13%. Does it mean China and India are at the same level as far as logistics is concerned? Not at all. There's a huge difference. It's basically that logistics is such an important part of the economics in China that it contributes 13% to the overall economy. If in the US it is 6 to 7%, it means the other industries, the other sectors are contributing much more than just logistics. So this is a wrong way to look at the logistics cost. That's number one. Number two is this, that when you look at the overall, shall we say, logistics scenario, then you have to take care of issues where you don't become part of a larger system, because you started off with the DFC. Yes. So DFC, I agree with you, it can be done by a state government. All that has to be done is that there is an act in the parliament that has to be passed, seeing that this is a railway administration. Correct me if I am wrong, I think the Railway Acts is that. Swapnil, you can also. So it is basically the political will to create this infrastructure, which will make a big difference to the overall, shall we say, economy of the state.
Thank you, sir. While we are talking about the new initiatives so far as rail are to be taken, we have Dr. Swapnil Neela here, who's the CPRO Central Railways. And may I request Dr. Swapnil Neela for his opening comments. Do you want to make a presentation? Yeah.
First of all, I thank Rao sir, Dikshit sir, Satyanathan sir and all the dignitaries who are present. With sir's permission, can I stand? Because it is better to have a stand when so many luminaries and dignitaries are present, and that would be much better in presenting. No, not comfortable, sir. Actually, I also want to give a small presentation. But sir, I have 2-3 views which I wanted to discuss before starting the actual presentation. First thing, sir, I would like to discuss what logistics is. In very simple terms, logistics is transportation of not only materials, sir, even for services, from where it is available to where it is needed. Simple example, the mic was with Rao, sir. It was transported to me. It is a part of logistics. Second thing, sir, when opening the discussion, Mr. Rao said that there is issue of reduction or shifting of transportation from road to rail or rail to road. I would like to add that transportation is a derived demand and it will be dependent upon the cost which will be available, and it will be shifted to whoever saves the money maximum. At the same time, as Satyanathan sir said, that Indian Railways, there is a practice or system of cross subsidization. But sir, at the same time, the cross subsidy is also being utilized for betterment of the lives of people. If those are utilized for some other purpose, then we can definitely go against it. But it is ultimately, as India is a growing economy as well as developing economy, we will have to shift towards service industry, and service industry will not work without having the transportation of people. If you do not create opportunities for people, then transportation of goods will be, and I would say, influxuous waste of money, sir, because ultimately it has to serve some purpose, and the purpose would always be the people, because ultimately people make nations, people make the world, and they will not be served adequately if we do not go for transportation of the materials for their benefit. And ultimately, third thing which I would like to add into this was, rather than going for the reduction or transportation being shifted from one mode of transportation to other, there are primarily 4 modes of transportation. I consider all of the dignified audiences to be aware of them, but railroad, waterways and obviously airports. These are 4 modes of transportation as such. And rather than going for changing the mode of transportation or changing the portion of transportation, I would like to increase the pie. If there is increased requirement for transportation, then obviously transportation will have to come up. If railways fail to do, waterways will come up. If waterways fail to do, then state transportation or road transportation will come up. But the demand for transportation will always be there, and it will be fulfilled one way or other. These are 3-4 points which I have wanted to initially, sir, with your permission, which I wanted to clarify to start with. And specifically on these points, sir, I have differed with your opinion. That's why I wanted to put those across to start with. Second thing, sir, even after provisioning of dedicated freight corridor, I am, as of now, not yet convinced about their utility, because the dedicated freight corridors will also have to be served by the existing rail infrastructure network. And if we do not have adequate capacity on the existing rail networks, then only having dedicated freight corridors who are not connecting the consumption center with the import centers or with the production centers will not be beneficial in longer run. At the same time, dedicated freight corridor which are connecting both the phenomena, starting from their production to their ultimate culmination, will be beneficial. So, and let us move towards the short presentation which I have created. Can I have that presentation, please? All three? Yeah, surely. Devon? Not available. किसमें है? निकालिए. Is it that screen? Let it leave it. Presentation we can leave, but we can go for the next session and we can just discussion also. We can surely. There are, that we can do during the term also. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Neela. Your point well taken that indeed passenger movement is also very important. You're but sometimes the people, yeah. No. Dr. Neela, we are people from, we are used to moving cargo, so we sometimes feel pinched, when somebody else is being subsidized at our cost. So that is the only difference. Never mind, your point is well taken. But the point is well taken. You see, what happens is that when rail freight is whatever is charged for our containers, we pay a higher price for subsidizing passenger fare. So it's sometimes pinch, but never mind. I mean, the point is well taken. Passenger movement is also extremely important. So with that, I have Mr. Vivek Saraswat, who is the head of operations of Louis Differson Company. This is one company which buys almost all the agri commodities which are grown in this region, be it rice, be it cotton, be it pulses, corn, and sugar may not be here, but whatever is grown around in this region, they are the biggest procurers. But unfortunately, they are also the ones who often do not use the ICD facilities which are available in Nagpur for transportation of their purchased cargo from this region. They prefer to take it by road and stack it near the port or warehouses across the country. So, Mr. Vivek Saraswat, for your opening comments. Yeah, so that is in his opening comments.
Hello everyone, and thanks Shiv to give me this opportunity to give my views. So, we all talk about the big things and the big number that what logistics policy is talking about, and a railway network, road network, all those things. So just to start with Mr. Leela's comment, I just want to tell the supply chain or logistics is not about, as he said, is about railway or transportation or anything. It is about completely efficiently moving anything from any place to another other place as per the requirement. And in that, the mix of land, road, sea, everything is possible, subject to your cost. And as Sir said, it is like a flow of water. It purely depends on efficiency and the cost. It derives whether we have to go to East Coast or West Coast or whichever coast. And if we see why entire things are lying on the West Coast is because the maximum consumption as a country, we see the North and the West is the biggest contributor. More than 60% of the country consumption happens in these two places. And that is why all import-export exercise, majority of things happen on the West Coast. And West Coast not only serve West, but also serve the North part. And that is why that is the biggest coast used for all the shipping lines. And with the changing infrastructure, if we start moving more cargo to the east side, then the automatically demand will reach to that place and the lines can come, because whenever we tried using Chennai or Vizag port and for shipment of cotton, one time China used to import like massive cotton in just 1 month. December they used to have a 25 December is the deadline for bringing cotton at a zero duty, otherwise they charge 45% duty in the country. At that time, India used to export like more than 1 million bale or more than 1 crore bale, it means 10 million bales export in just 1 month. And at that time, we used to bring ad hoc vessels, and lines are happy to bring to Vizag, to Chennai, and all the places as per the requirement, because we were giving the demand. So that's purely a flow of material happens subject to the demand and supply. It's purely and cost. So basically, basically we can talk about a company who is working in the agri-commodity business. Why we don't use ICDs is purely because of the cost. Because when we deal, the biggest volume which moves out of the country is cotton. And when we move the cotton is a light commodity, in sense a high volume, low weight commodity in the volumes. So we are able to use only 50% of the capacity of the rake, payload capacity, and paying double freight. So the road transportation is much cheaper, and that makes sense to bring it to the port by road, not by rail. And similarly, when we export rice, we use ICDs, but again, it is a demand and supply of your freight. When your bulk freight is cheaper, you go to the port for moving the cargo by the bulk vessels. Whenever the freight is cheaper to Africa, because most of the non-basmati rice goes to Africa, you use ICDs for export, and we continuously keep on using the rice for rice export out of ICDs. That's the reality. And second is basically, we always talk about transportation, but the important thing is we need to see the basic small things of loading unloading, which is a big factor of your overall efficiency, where we are mainly dependent. Maharashtra is mainly dependent on only labors, where we see in Gujarat, it is all mechanized. We use forklifts, clamp lifts to manage that part, and that makes very efficient, cost effective, and fast loading. In a day, in Gujarat, I can load 100 containers of 40 feet of cotton from one CFS only. Where when we try from ICD, it is hardly 10 to 15 containers we are able to load because of the setup available in this area. And so obviously I don't want to talk these words, but the labor cost is adding up massive number. So in cost, if you talk about, maybe we are paying 4,000 rupees for loading a truck or unloading a truck in Gujarat, where in Maharashtra at some places we have to pay 10,000 rupees also. And it is just, this is the cost and this is the capacity, only 10 trucks will be loaded, not more than that. Where if you talk to the other people in Gujarat, you can load from morning 8 o'clock till night 10 o'clock, and you can complete your 50 trucks, 60 trucks also from one warehouse, which is not very easy from Maharashtra to manage. So these are the few factors which is affecting, and maybe later on we can discuss in more details about that.
Thank you, Mr. Saraswat. While cost is one factor for movement of cargo from Nagpur to JNPT or anywhere across the country, and therefore the companies tend to generally move from rail to road, there are also a couple of other sides, which is the pilferage, safety of the cargo, the storage mechanism, how to when the cargo is stuffed at the factory, it should reach to the port, and there should be no pilferage or no damage to the cargo. So on these are also a couple of issues to be addressed. And for this, I have Mr. Shailendra Kumar, who is the Vice President Global Supply Chain of Kalpataru Projects. They have their manufacturing plant in Raipur, and they are the ones who move by road from Raipur to Nagpur, and then by rail from Nagpur to JNPT. So safety of cargo or stuffing at their factory, and in the same condition it reaches the consumer. These are factors probably they want to pay a little more but move it by rail. So let me have his perspective as well.
Thank you, Rao Saab, panel members and audience. So, आज एक ऐसा मौका मिला कि we can share our thoughts. Even though I can say I'm not so much expert, I learned a lot from all of you. So, मैं यही कहना चाहता हूँ कि जो हमारी कॉस्ट है, लॉजिस्टिक कॉस्ट है आज, वो जीडीपी की 14% है, जो कि बहुत ज़्यादा है. और अगर हम ग्लोबली उसको कंपेयर करते हैं ग्लोबल एवरेज, तो ग्लोबल 7 to 8% है। और ये एक बहुत बड़ा कारण है कि हम ग्लोबल मार्केट में, जो हमारी एक्सपोर्ट मार्केट है, ये बहुत बड़ा बॉटलनेक है। जैसे अगर मैं यूएस देखता हूँ, लैटिन अमेरिका देखता हूँ, अफ्रीका देखता हूँ, हर जगह चाइनीज छाए हुए हैं। तो एक तो कॉस्ट है, दूसरा लीड टाइम। जैसे यूरोपियन मार्केट है, वो ज्यादा लीड टाइम देना नहीं चाहते आज की डेट में। वो बोलते हैं आज ऑर्डर दिया, आप हमें 1 हफ्ते के अंदर सप्लाई कर दीजिए। बहुत ज्यादा हार्डली नेगोशिएट किया, यू कैन से यू टेक योर स्टैंडर्ड लीड टाइम, कि भाई मैं अगर जैसे राव साहब ने कहा कि हमने रायपुर फैक्ट्री में बनाया, नागपुर लेके आए, नावा शेवा में किया, उसके बाद वेसल के स्टैंडर्ड लीड टाइम है कि 25 दिन में पहुंचा देगा, 30 दिन में, वी कैलकुलेट एज पर दैट। बट लेकिन ऐसा आज की डेट में प्रैक्टिकली हो नहीं रहा। पिछले 2-3 साल से 30 डेज वेसल ऑपरेटर कमिट, एक्चुअल में 90, 100, दिस इज द पैटर्न। सो I can say lead time and cost both are very, very important. And in India, like government has taken initiative in recent past month, like PM Gati Shakti, Bharatmala, DFC. Obviously, like we are talking about this multimodal hub. So it will definitely boost our economy and cut down the logistic cost. Like we have our mission, this logistic policy, that we have to cut down 8% logistic cost, so we can come up to a general level 8% पे हम लोग आ जाएं। सेकंड सबसे बड़ा चैलेंज है ट्रैफिक कंडीशन। सो इजीनेस ऑफ रोड ट्रांसपोर्ट, जो एक टर्न अराउंड है, जो हमें पर डे एक व्हीकल को चलना चाहिए, वो चल नहीं पाता है, तो एक दूसरा बड़ा बॉटलनेक है। सो ये 3-4 चैलेंज हैं जो एज ए एक्सपोर्टर या हमारे रॉ मटेरियल के बहुत बड़ी वैल्यू कंट्रीब्यूट करते हैं। सो दैट्स ऑल फ्रॉम माय साइड।
Thank you so much, Shailendra Kumar ji. I have Sudhir Agarwal, who has been a freight forwarder and worked in this region for nearly 25 years and handled cargo originating or being consumed here in this region. So, Sudhir, for your opening remarks and thoughts very quickly.
Yeah. Thank you, Shiv. Respected panelists on the dais, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great opportunity today. We are here discussing about logistics. I need not say anything now on logistics because every panelist has already defined it and how it works. I am going to talk only on the efficiency part. My 25 years experience in logistics says that things are moving in the right direction. Now everything, every cost, every timely delivery, every fulfillment of commitment depends upon the efficiency. Now the efficiency has to come from the entire ecosystem. It cannot be a one-person efficiency because, if your transporter is efficient but your rail operator is not, then you lose on your commitment. If your rail operator is efficient, your transporter is efficient, but while your shipping line is taking its own sweet time. So the whole ecosystem has to develop. And till the time this efficiency is brought in each and every aspect of logistics, we are never going to come down on cost. See, over a period of years, what I have seen in custom part, because I am related to EXIM trade, what I have seen, the customs have gone ahead with adopting technology as part of processing documents. And it has really become a game changer. Now we are filing online documents 24/7. All our documents are processed online, and if your credentials are established, if your cargo is brought in regularly, if your costing is not a challenge, 80% of your documents are processed through RMS, risk management systems. There is no human intervention. The document is cleared within 24 hours. You can clear your import or export and you can give delivery or take delivery. So this is how the system, now they have over a period, they have what they have done. They have joined the banks with it. Now you can pay your duty. Gone are the days when we used to go to the bank with a challan, and if you are not having a bank account with SBI, they used to take 4 days to give you your challan back to prove to the custom that the duty has been paid. Now you pay your duty within 15 minutes, it gets integrated with your bill of entry. Now the cargo is moved from gateway port to ICD. Within that time, you have filed your document, you have paid the duty. Once the cargo arrives, the goods are examined, and by evening you can take your delivery. So technology has brought in a lot of efficiency, lot of transparency. It is the mindset. Still, what is happening? People are blaming technology. I believe technology is not to be blamed. It is people like us who are executing our part in the technology system, which are not doing our work in a very transparent manner. And secondly, what I see a challenge is that while we are moving ahead with the technology, we are not educating people. We are not upskilling our staff, or maybe people who are, like I tell you, like in private sector, we are always trying to find people who have got, IT knowledge in logistics. Now they are hard to find, especially in a place like Vidarbha, where we don't have a very big ecosystem. But speaking on the other side of the table, when we are dealing with the government department, they are also education, and specifically with the IT is a challenge with officers who have spent most of their career in physical documentation, to getting used to the system, to know each and every part. So all these inefficiencies are also costing EXIM trade very harshly. So I personally believe if you have to really look into logistics, you have to look into it holistically. One mode of transportation, other mode of transportation, by one or two elements, we cannot bring efficiency into the logistics, and we cannot bring down the cost. Thank you, Shiv.
Just wanted to add one thing. Actually, India is paradoxically situated in such a way that the total logistics costs, which we call as 14%, it's much higher than the transportation cost, because logistic cost does not only include transportation cost, but at the same time include all these inefficiencies. May it be your inventory costs, may it be your pilferage costs, may it be your waiting period, or your discontinuation of production costs. All these costs increase the logistics cost. When we say 14% of GDP is occupied by logistics, it is difficult to define, because we have, paradoxically it is true that we have one of the lowest transportation costs and at the same time one of the highest logistic costs. Just wanted to add this, please.
This is very true, because maybe in many things we are very efficient. It's not we are inefficient. But suppose there is a basket of 10 things, out of that maybe 3 if we are very efficient, still 6 is contributing a lot. Like if you store material into your warehouses and your spillage is more, you are not having a transparency of getting your information, your inventory details, you are losing there. If your handling loss is 0.5% versus 2% or 3%, it is massive difference of inefficiency. Your company basically settling the documents and payment is received in 15 days, you are losing 15 days interest, where if you are able to do in 3 days, you are able to save, or 2 days, you are able to save remaining days interest. And that is also a logistics cost. So there are many factors which affects, and maybe it's not, I understand no country can achieve everything in a day, but at least as a country we are seeing that we are trying to capture one by one all the things and try to improve on that. And there is all possibilities, and future looks very bright.
The efforts actually need to be made on other fronts, because we are singly focused while reducing the logistics cost. Our focus seems to be controlled only on the transportation cost, and that is, I feel, a misdirected kind of focus, because it will not ultimately lead to success. Whenever somebody meets with me, I generally say you have 3 choices: faster, safer, and cost effective. You can choose only 2. Not all 3. Either fast and safe, or either safe and speedier, but you cannot choose all 3. You can choose only 2. Okay?
go a little earlier. Shiv, I'm sorry I have to leave a little early. But you see, one thing that I'm happy about is that there is a fair amount of debate which has been generated about what logistics cost is. Unfortunately, even the national logistics policy has failed to address a lot of these issues. That's a fact. That's number one. Number two, the NCAER has also said that in logistics cost, transportation contributes roughly about 60 to 62%. So it's a huge cost which cannot be ignored. As they say, it's the elephant in the room. Yes, reducing logistics cost in Indian Railways, since I belong to that organization and I have worked on the side where the rating and everything is looked at, is not easy. It's a very, very long process which will require a lot of infrastructural changes in terms of the processes in Indian Railways. So it's not going to be easy. But all the same, I think that is something which eventually, when you reach the level of a DRM or a GM, you will have to address. Otherwise, you will be looking at a railway share of 11%. This is not my prediction, McKinsey. This is a debate that can go on. So I'll come to Bombay and do it. Yeah, I hope you'll kindly excuse me.
Thank you so much, Mr. Satyanathan. He has to leave. Doctor, that he'll take. Adrijit, if you could take the mementos, please. Dr. Swapnil Nila, while we have been talking mainly about the logistics cost, the road versus rail, and why the users generally tend to prefer. But we would also like to know some of the planned infrastructure projects of the railways, because the government has planned under the Gati Shakti initiative and also the redevelopment or the modification of certain goods shed, adding of the third and the fourth line between Nagpur and Bombay, which will only increase the efficiency and also probably address the concern of faster movement of goods. So if you could just brief us quickly about the Gati Shakti cargo terminals that are open particularly in Vidarbha region and which will spell out the opportunity for people here, as well as the third and fourth line. So Dr. Dikshit or Dr. Neela, any of you can.
No problem, sir. Just for that, I will take help of the presentation because that will be much easier with the presentation. Actually, the third, fourth line work has been proposed between from Nagpur to Badnera also. At the same time, third line has been proposed from Nagpur to Wardha and Balarsha portions. But for that, just bear with me for a sec. This is quite inefficient. Okay. Thank you. Can everybody see it now? Let me quickly move through these slides because I feel this will not be needed. Can everybody see it? Okay. Let us directly skip ahead to the facilities we have for Nagpur as such. Actually, let's come to the new. Actually, Gati Shakti is an initiative which was initiated in 2021 by Honorable PM Sir's thought process that let us bring all those industries and all those ministries which are currently working. Somewhere around 44 different ministries and 36 state governments have been brought on the same platform, and we have been able to create an infrastructure or an online database which is having somewhere around 16,000 layers upon which we can better plan. These layers contain road infrastructure, rail infrastructure, the upcoming projects and all else. Specifically for Nagpur, there are 4 facilities which are coming up in new terminal shape. One is situated at Tadali, another one at Chandrapur, third at Mukutbhat and fourth at Balarsha. Actually all these 4 areas are specifically related with coal. and coal loading. Currently, WCL is the major partner who is loading somewhere around 32 rakes per day with help of Indian Railways, Central Railway and Nagpur division in particular. These sidings will increase that loading capacity by almost 8 to 9 rakes per day. It seems that 30%, almost 33% increase will be possible with help of these only. At the same time, the ongoing GCT works in Nagpur area include, again, these are primarily in the coal fields area. First one is Vimla Infrastructure, Tadali, who is doing actually, there is already a PFT which is getting expanded through RCC consultant. At the same time, Mursa station, Tadali, Ghugus, in between Tadali and Ghugus, that is also getting extended. At the same time, for cement industry particularly, ACC Ghugus is undergoing an upgradation of its works through two processes. One is weighbridge and another one is addition. At the another one, and Nagpur, under specifically the GCTA, there are 4 sidings which are coming up. At one is at Majri, another is Makardokla. Makardokla side is almost ready and it will be operationalized by March this year only. And at the same time, one is again Ghugus and another one is taking off from GCT Sonegaon. These are the 12 projects which are coming up in very short period. Apart from that, the doubling and increase of the infrastructure at Nagpur specifically is related with 6 particularly sections. First section is between Wardha and Nagpur, 3rd and 4th line. At the same time, doubling of Godni cord is happening. Similarly, between Nagpur and Itarsi, 3rd line is proposed. Partially it has been completed to somewhere around 30-35 kilometers. The rest it is being processed. At the same time, 3rd and 4th line between Wardha and Nagpur is processed. 3rd line is completed. Similarly, from Wardha to Badnera, 3rd line is almost ready to the extent of 40-45 kilometers. Rest 40 kilometers are likely to be completed within a very short period of time. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Neela. May I now get back Sudhir into the conversation? A trained workforce is something which is, I would not say missing, but there is certainly a shortage so far as skilled manpower is concerned or trained people for operations in logistics. The Federation of Freight Forwarders Association of India has taken some very nice initiatives. So for the younger generation and for the audience here, for information to be disseminated, I'll just request Sudhir to share the initiative quickly in a minute so that we can move ahead.
Yeah, thank you once again. First of all, let me say a few words about my organization, FFAI, Federation of Freight Forwarders Association of India. Basically, it's it's a federation of associations of custom brokers. We represent each and every major and minor ports of India. The local association is part of this organization. It's a 50-year-old organization. Basically, it is for the purpose of educating its member, taking care of their professional work, and as a federation, even representing government for the various policy initiatives. Few years back, we realized that there is a shortage of skilled manpower in the logistic industry. As you all are aware, after the roll out of GST, logistics, the scale of logistics has increased. Not only because of now logistics is considered as an industry. There is a separate department in Ministry of Commerce and Industry Logistics. Then various initiatives taken by our Prime Minister, Sagarmala, Gati Shakti. All this has increased the overall work in the logistic industry, and what Shiv has said in the beginning, even all these e-commerce companies, basically I personally feel these are all logistics companies, basically having a very good technology platform with them, and what they are doing is just coordinating between customer and traders. The customer is placing an order and the trader is delivering the goods, and these are the companies which are making profit out of it. Similarly, now what has happened, because suddenly logistics has become technology driven. And the old format,
Varies, sir. Varies. It will be anywhere close to 15 to 20%. As of now, between 10 and 28%.
so what is happening? Suddenly there is a rise in demand for a skilled manpower. While our old system was to do things manually, there used to be some document which used to be filled. Now everything is moving fast, and your staff has to be well versed with the technology aspect. Keeping that in mind, we have established an institute which is called Institute of Freight Forwarders. The basic logic is to educate our staff, our team members into what is the new technology, how to adopt it, and what are the various policies which one has to follow it. Regarding this, we have 3 different platforms. Number 1, we have established a training program under Government Skill Development Program in Navasheva, where we are trying to educate undergraduate people in various aspects of logistics. Our institute is also running a diploma course, which is recognized by FIATA. It's a 11-month diploma course, and once you cover that course, you are awarded with a FIATA certificate. Now, this certificate is valid all over the world, because FIATA is a international organization, and once you achieve the recognition of FIATA, then anywhere in the world you go and you can be easily given a job in the logistics industry. Third, recently we have tied up with IIM Mumbai. We have designed a course, a diploma course of 6 months with IIM Mumbai, and the first batch of 20 students have already passed out. And the next batch we are going to start in the month of April. So these are the 3 things we are doing right now in terms of formal education. There are a lot of other programs we are doing. We are having every month, we are having 2 webinars, and these webinars are open to each and every member of logistic industry. We are widely publicizing it on social media. Whosoever wants to log in, they log in. And we are trying to create an ecosystem where education becomes part of our profession. See, I, being a chartered accountant by my studies, have learned that how the CA as a profession is building up, because the CA Institute make it compulsory for their professional members. If they want to practice, every year they have to attend certain programs which imparts education to them on a regular basis, and each course has got a point. So you have to take those many points if you want to take your certificate of practice to the next year. Similarly, I want in our logistic industry also, we are asking government to recognize logistician or a custom broker as a professional guy, and then have a system or an institute wherein you recognize skilling and upskilling as a part of it, and we have a regular program wherein we educate our people, so that in times to come, with better technology and more efficiency, we can do a better job in the logistic industry. Thank you.
Thank you, Sudhir. We have discussed most of the aspects. One major area, which is the logistics policy introduced by the state government, that remains for discussion, and along with that will come the warehousing side of it, particularly efficient warehousing and the introduction of technology in warehousing. I would request Mr. Vivek Saraswat to make his point very quickly in that, because that is going to be very discussed in detail in the second session, which we start off immediately. And immediately after Mr. Vivek Saraswat, if any of the closing comments to be made by anyone, sir, if you want to make any closing comment, we'll be very happy. And then we will move on to the next session of the logistics policy.
Okay, so basically I just want to add that we discussed about many other factors. So what is the quick win, or we can say the low-hanging fruit, which can be covered very fast and save the money? One is basically in the warehousing, if we are able to make clear transparency of the information flow, what you receive, what you dispatch. This information itself takes longer time, and what we receive, the payment has to be dependent on that, and what you have delivered, you are able to get the payments around that. If you are able to reduce by 1 day also, your cost of money will reduce. and then the transparency in terms of your whatever material is lying, if you are able to, from the safety and security perspective, IP camera is a basic thing which can be put into the government warehouses or any private warehouses or service providers. So then the people can visually see their inventory, which gives a lot of confidence. And obviously with the camera, the security increases by perception automatically that it is somebody is seeing that. It's a human tendency. And then automation in labor activity and training of those kind of things will increase, reduce not only the cost, but increase the efficiency of loading and unloading, which brings a better capacity of utilization of your premises. And these are some basic things which can be done and have a quick win on saving money or reducing the cost. That's all I think I just want to add.
Thank you so much. Sir, would you like to add on something?
Yeah. All I want to say is the focus of this session was to review the logistics area in reference to Nagpur and Vidarbha. And what has come out from the discussion is that we should not only focus on the transport cost, but from the other costs or other losses. So now there is a food for thought for you. Now, out of all this, what exactly is required in Vidarbha? By way of the transport cost, by way of other costs, by way of technology, and where? In all the districts of Vidarbha and Nagpur included. So a blueprint will of course needed. I don't know if it is already there. Otherwise some specific points can be made and they can be presented in the forum from where it can be propagated to a higher level as to what exactly needs to be done by the different stakeholders. Government is one. So many other things. Even technology companies may have a lot of things to do here. And there are. So my request is that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. In fact, what you have said is so true that the industry ultimately wants something which is cost effective, very efficient, fast connectivity, where the first mile and last mile particularly are very well addressed. If this entire ecosystem is made, we only want then this kind of a system will only attract more industries and make the industries here more profitable. But this point is very well taken. So we will definitely engage in making a proper white paper on exactly what needs to be done and what are the probable solutions that can be recommended to have a good ecosystem or a good logistics ecosystem.
If somebody tells today to give the 5 topmost points, yes. I don't know whether we can tell today the 5 topmost things required in Vidarbha and Nagpur to improve logistics sector here. So that kind of thing should be there. It should be there in the minds of everybody, including the honorable ministers and chief minister. Correct. Top 5 things in Nagpur and Vidarbha required for this sector. Correct. And they should be hammered on every occasion.
So there are basically the land issues and proper inland container depot where you have a private freight terminal, where you have storage yards, where you have bulk yards, where you have transport bays, everything put together. I mean, that is one big opportunity which you have in hand, this 1500-acre national mega logistics hub of which you were just entrusted the responsibility in the inauguration today. Probably it will create the pathway for creating a complete ecosystem.
Ultimately, 2 things are important out of this. What I feel is, first, there will be a major role which will be played by AI-driven systems. May it be starting from RFID identification, SKU identification in particularly the warehouses or across the transportation of goods. At the same time, the second important thing which has come up is ultimate requirement of multimodal transportation. And it is requirement of, because the majority of the cost or pilferage happens whenever there is handling or change of mode of transportation. Whenever there is change of mode of transportation, there are chances of loss of commodity, pilferage, and many other issues. There might be loss of time, there might be issues related to certainty of delivery. And I feel the most important thing in logistics It's certainty. If you have a certainty that this particular product will reach, may it be by 10 days, 11 days, 50 days, I don't mind. But I should have, the product should not reach neither 49th nor 51. I'm not bothered as such about the duration of transportation, which I feel is the industry's opinion. What matters to me is certainty of that period. If it comes earlier to that, then my cost of storing it increases. If it comes later, I harbinger the risk of losing my production continuity. So that is what I feel was probably one of the most important part of logistics industry in India today. Thank you.
Absolutely. The certainty of transit time is something which is very, very important. So, I think we'll...
1 minute.
Yeah.
So I think...
Because the other panelists are also...
Yeah,
waiting.
I would like to focus only 2 points. Like, we should think about linking the portal, like transportation, company, CHA, customs, everybody have their independent portal. And we think that we should link, government can initiate or anybody can initiate by linking all the portals. It will eliminate lot of wastage and time. This is number one. Number two, we are far behind on drone delivery. Going forward, it's a big market and we should think about drone delivery, creating drone hub. So this is also going to be a very disruptive way.
Thank you so much, and we are actually running short of time, and the second session is had to begin some time back. But then thank you so much, Dr. Dikshit and Mr. Saraswat and Dr. Swapnil Neela, Mr. Shailendra Kumar, Mr. Sudhir Agarwal, and all the audience here. Unfortunately, we don't have time for Q&A just now, but maybe after the second session is done, we will have some time for Q&A. What has come out ultimately is good. A lot of points that we have taken, and I'm sure somebody from AID is keeping a note of all these points so that we can ultimately prepare a note on this. On the last point of certainty of delivery of cargo from point A to point B, this is something which could perhaps be the starting point of what the industry wants. And this is a long-standing demand. I will discuss this offline with you. But on to the second session. Thank you so much. Thank you all the panelists. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks.
Hello. Thank you so much to our esteemed speakers for giving us insights into this topic. And thank you so much, Mr. Shiv Kumar Rao, for conducting this panel discussion flawlessly. We are going to have our second panel discussion on the same topic. I request everyone in the auditorium kindly settle down. We are going to start our second panel discussion on the same topic immediately.
Good evening, everyone. I welcome you to the second session on the logistics. Here we are to discuss about the Maharashtra Logistic Policy 2024. To start with the policy discussion, I would first like to invite CA Girish Deodhar sir to come and make a brief presentation about the policy. I'll ask Asavari to introduce Girish sir.
Yeah. Please put your hands together for CA Girish Devdhar. He's a senior partner in GP Devdhar and Company, Chartered Accountants, practicing in Nagpur since 1985 and has a vast experience of over 40 years. Shailesh Ved sir to please join us on the stage. Please give him a huge round of applause. Mr. Ved is a managing partner of Swetel Logistic, a venture of Mukund Group, Nagpur. Mukund Group has 30 years of experience and expertise in logistics industry. Their customer-centric approach and visionary leadership has earned them a trust of esteemed clients like Tata Steel, JSW Steel, and Tata Hitachi. They have quality accreditation like ISO 9001, 14001 and 45001, and numerous awards and recognition including Best Vendors, Best Warehouse, and Excellence in Safety Awards. They have state-of-the-art infrastructure, including automated material handling warehouse with private railway siding, aided by well-experienced and trained team. So please put your hands together for Shailesh Ved, sir. And I once again request Mr. Agarwal to welcome him with a sapling and a memento. Our next esteemed speaker for this panel is Captain Sanjay Sharma. May I request Honorable Sanjay Sharma to please join us on the stage? Captain Sanjay Sharma.
I think he might have gone for a break, so
Okay, I think he'll join us momentarily. Now, without further ado, I hand over the stage to Mr. Agarwal. Thank you so much.
So, after the very interesting first session where we discussed a lot about policy, lot about logistics, we come to the very important thing about the Maharashtra state government logistic policy, which was announced in 2024. This policy came in the backdrop of the Maharashtra Logistic Park policy of 2018 and is very instrumental in pushing and developing Nagpur and Vidarbha as the logistic hub of India. So without much ado, I'd ask CA Girish ji to give his brief presentation about the Maharashtra logistic policy.
Thank you, Rajanji, for introducing me. And on the dais, I have with us my good friend. I know him for a long time. And I welcome all the participants here. I will call them as a dynamic and fast-forward participant in this logistic revolution of Maharashtra. I can call it as the logistic revolution of Maharashtra. As many people have told here that Maharashtra contributes around 14% of India's GDP and the second largest exporter contributing 17% of the country's exports and also about 29% FDI inflow comes in Maharashtra. And Vidarbha and Marathwada, before I start the policy presentation, Vidarbha and Marathwada, as per the policy of Government of Maharashtra, are the two backward regions for all the policies of Maharashtra. And logistic hub and leading center for trade and transportation and innovation and new age technologies. Now with this we come to the first slide, that is develop more than 10,000 acres of dedicated logistic infrastructure, then develop 25 districts, logistics nodes, 5 regional logistic hubs, 5 state logistic hubs, 1 national logistic hub and 1 international logistic hub. Ensure that the cost of logistics is reduced by at least 5%. Then reduce the time taken through the various interventions, reduce the carbon footprints by promoting green initiatives. The policy period is 5 years from the date of commencement and which can be enhanced and reviewed after 2 years as per the policy norms. And the major outcomes expected is approximately 5 lakh new jobs can be created, around 30,000 crores of revenue generation from this policy. So based on whatever has been major elements as you have seen, we'll go to the next slide, and that is, this is what they were discussing in the earlier talk also, that district logistic nodes are 25, regional logistic hubs are 5, then state logistic hubs are again 5, and the important one is national logistic mega hub, that is Nagpur Wardha National Logistic Mega Hub. And the last one is International Logistic Mega Hub, that is Navi Mumbai and Pune International Logistic Mega Hub. Then the next slide is Nagpur Wardha National Logistic Hub, जो हमारे लिए important है, उसमें क्या-क्या facilities देने वाले हैं. There is integrated multimodal logistic park, then modular flexible warehouse, common facility centers, then ICD and container freight stations, then green and smart logistic park, use of AI Industry 4.0 based technologies, then truck, bus terminals, railway sidings, then R&D and testing facilities, hostel, dormitories and commercial zones, and PPP model for smart and green logistic hubs. Now coming to the important thing which they were discussing here is independent standalone possible भी है इसके अंदर में, स्कीम में, that is warehousing and cargo handling units up to 20,000 square feet minimum, then silo up to 1,000 meter tons and cold storage 20,000 square feet. Then independent standalone units in logistic activities में classification है, that is private freight terminal, integrated truck terminals, container freight station, air freight station and warehousing zones, inland container depot and free trade. मैं थोड़ा टेक्निकल में फास्ट जा रहा हूँ. When it comes to finance, I will be a bit slow. Then they were talking in the earlier talk about the zones that have been created. These are the zones. That is zone 1, zone 2, zone 3. Zone 1 is again bold में लिया है Vidarbha region and Marathwada region, which comprises of 19 districts of government of Maharashtra. Then zone 2, that is Ratnagiri, Sindhudurg, Dhule, Nandurbar, D and D plus areas as per PSI 19. And zone 3 includes other areas than zone 1 and zone 2. So we in Vidarbha are in zone 1. Then incentives for logistic parks and integrated truck terminals. So from here I start what is important from finance and debt's point of view. So first is special capital incentives, critical infrastructure support, additional FSI, support to green logistics, then skill development, then power at industrial rate, relaxation on zone restrictions, single window clearance, then relaxation on height restrictions for multi-storied logistics park, and higher ground coverage. These are the incentives on these things you are going to get under this policy for Maharashtra. This is the most important slide so far as finance and subsidy and incentives are concerned, because here they are defining what is meant by a small logistic park, large logistic park, mega logistic park, ultra mega logistic park, and integrated truck terminals. इसका डेफिनेशन उन्होंने इसमें दिया है. उसके साथ में एक 5वें इंटीग्रेटेड ट्रक टर्मिनल के साथ में मल्टी स्टोरीड पार्क भी 20,000 स्क्वायर फीट तक आ सकता है. सो व्हाट डू दे से इज मिनिमम एरिया इन एकर्स up to 5 acres of land and 10 crore investment, up to 50 is small, up to 50 acres of land, that is 10 times, and 100 crore investment, it is large. इसमें जो नॉर्मल स्कीम में होता है वैसा मीडियम दिख नहीं रहा कहीं, so it could be small and medium. Then third is mega, that is 100 crore investment and 100 acres and 200 crore investment, and ultra is 200 acres of land and 400 crores investment. Whereas integrated truck terminals is 5 acres of land and 5 crore investment. Now what is important is the subsidy for the small one, जो नागपुर में लोग शुरू कर सकते हैं, up to 5 acres and 10 crore rupees, सबसे छोटा वाला, the subsidy is 20%. That is 2 crore rupees. तो आपको 2 crore subsidy मिलेंगी. But इसमें ऐसा भले कहा गया है, I spoke to other government officials, first 50 and 2 in each district. That is what they are saying. And the development period is important, that is 2 years. तो आपको शुरू करने से 2 साल के अंदर आपका प्रोजेक्ट पूरा करना पड़ेगा, तो यू आर एंटाइटल्ड फॉर अ सब्सिडी ऑफ 2 crores. मतलब आपने 10 करोड़ खर्चा किया है, उसमें से आपको 2 करोड़ मिल जाएंगे. बट द सेम सब्सिडी फॉर लार्ज इज 15% इंस्टेड ऑफ 20, एंड द अमाउंट इज 15 crore rupees. You have to finish the project in 3 years. For mega, subsidy is again 15%, and the maximum is 30 crores. You have to complete the project in 4 years. And the ultra mega, subsidy is 10%. जैसा बड़ा होते जाएगा, सब्सिडी कम हो रही है. So 10%, but it is 40 crores. That is the cap. And you have to finish the project in 5 years. So far as the financial part of it concerned, this is what is very important. आपको before you start any project, whether it is proprietary, partnership, LLP, private limited, or any other form, you have to see मेरा कितने करोड़ का project है. So based on that, you have to fit into it. I am not saying कि सब्सिडी के लिए प्रोजेक्ट डालो, लेकिन कितनी मिलने वाली सब्सिडी है, ये इसमें से हमको इजी समझ जाता है. Sorry, I missed the points at the bottom. That is power also at industrial rates you will get here. Then development of critical infrastructure, provision of 5 crore rupees. Then the total cost of land and development of land will not be a part of FCI. This is important thing. आपको वहां पर जो बिल्डिंग बनाएंगे और इक्विपमेंट लगाएंगे, that will only be covered while counting the subsidy part of it. And इसका अभी भी कोई detailed procedure आया हुआ नहीं है. The detailed procedure for determining the incentives will be as per the separate guidelines. So some guidelines are going to come. This is a very, very new logistic policy. Hardly 3-4 महीना ही हुआ है. तो guidelines are yet to come. But at a glance, आपको plan करने के लिए आज से plan करोगे तो 2-3 सालों में आपका project आएगा. So you can go ahead based on this. इसमें और एक important बात है कि this scheme is will be monitored by DIC as well as MIDC. So the land part will be taken care by MIDC. आपको land चाहिए तो आप ले सकते हो. You can go outside the corridor also. आपका खुद का भी land ले सकते हैं कहाँ पर भी जहाँ आपको चाहिए. But it will be approved by MIDC. Building plan will be approved by MIDC. All other things will be done by DIC. So DIC and MIDC together मिलके ये scheme implement करने वाले हैं. Then next is the benefits were of two types. मैंने पहला बताया वो fiscal benefits था जिसमें पैसा मिलने वाला है. ये non fiscal benefits है जो आपको मिलने वाला है. One is in the form of FSI, that is 12 meters मिलेगा minimum road width, up to permissible FSI is 3 and maximum permissible is 3. For the second category up to 18 meters it is 4 and between 3 to 3.5, and third category 27 meters up to 5 and up to 4. Amount of premium is also there. You have to pay for the premium for additional FSI if you want. ये विदर्भ के लिए 0 है. So there is no premium to be paid on the FSI if you are in Vidarbha, and for other areas it is 10% and 15%. Then there could be independent unit also which are not being covered under the government area or location. So MSME storage and cargo, ये इन दोनों इसमें यहाँ जो बताया है storage and cargo का. So inside the logistic park, if you are there, there is an interest subsidy of 3%. So आप जो loan लेंगे इसके लिए term loan लेंगे basically, because interest is not on working capital, it is only on term loan. So it is 3% interest subsidy, and you get a stamp duty exemption up to 75% of the stamp duty that you will pay on the land. Then power at industrial rates and technology upgradation का भी assistance मिलेगा, and EODB भी आपको इसके अंदर में ease of doing business भी इसके अंदर में आपको मिलेगा. And second is interest up to 2% outside the park. आप logistic park के बाहर जाते हो तो 2%, the stamp duty is 50%, then power at industrial rates and technology upgradation assistance, and of course EODB. So these are the important things which come under the incentives which are there for independent units. So you had incentives for the units which you are putting in the park, outside the park, and whether it is small, medium, large, mega, ultra mega. I have tried to discuss in short, in brief, कि क्या-क्या कौन-कौन से सेक्टर को क्या-क्या तरह के आपको गवर्नमेंट इंसेंटिव देने वाले हैं. देन ईज ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस, हमको हंसने आता है गवर्नमेंट बोलते, बट इसमें मिलने वाला ऐसा बोल रहे हैं. सो व्हाट इज दैट ईज? फर्स्ट इज इंडस्ट्री स्टेटस मिलेगा, दैट इज द ईज दे आर सेइंग. देन द हायर ग्राउंड कवरेज, देन zones permitted for establishing logistic parks, then relaxation on height restrictions, and 24/7 operations. That is what is second thing which is available. And a single window clearance that is always there in every scheme. Here also they are boasting of single window clearance. And the exclusive support to MSMEs under the logistic policy क्या है? Now what is MSME? यहाँ से शुरुआत करना पड़ेगा, because in the budget MSME definition has been totally changed. I'll go fast if you might be aware, but for this policy as of date जिस दिन policy आया उस दिन MSE is divided into definition, covers two things: investment in plant and machinery up to 1 crore, and the turnover of 5 crores is called micro. Then 10 crores and 50 crores is medium, and investment up to 50 crores in plant and machinery, and 250 crore turnover is called as MSME. But as per the new definition, if that is applicable, made applicable here, the investment in plant and machinery उसको 2.5 गुना कर दिया है, and turnover को 2 गुना कर दिया है. So turnover up to 500 crores will also come as a part of MSME if you follow the new definition. But as of date, let us say that the existing definition will only follow, because after 2 years when they review the policy, then they may adopt the new definition. So what are the exclusive support? Apart from the fiscal and non-fiscal incentives, policy is offering exclusive support to MSMEs. Then no prior approval is required, no NOCs are required, you can just go ahead. और उसके बाद में 1 साल के अंदर में आपको सबमिट करना पड़ेगा. That is what is written here. And the required permission and NOC should be taken with the first year of operations, within the first year. So to start with, if you are happy, you are comfortable कि जो मैं कर रहा हूँ वो सही है, जगह सही है, उसके डॉक्यूमेंट सही है, so that is what you can do. You can just go ahead. And the last important thing is that facilitation of new warehouse and cold storage in cooperative basis, which is also likely to be made available to you under the new policy. So I think with this, I'll say thank you to you. I was a bit fast, but जो financials important थे वो मैंने बताने की कोशिश किया. I am thankful for giving me as opportunity to AID also. And मैं सबसे बड़ी बात यह है कि I would like to conclude with थोड़ा बहुत इंग्लिश में बात किया तो हिंदी में I would like to conclude by saying कि कामयाबी सबको यहाँ चाहिए, तो कामयाबी उन्हीं को मिलती है जिनके सपनों में जान होती है। कामयाबी उन्हीं को मिलती है जिनके सपनों में जान होती है। सिर्फ पंखों से कुछ नहीं होता, सिर्फ पंखों से कुछ नहीं होता, हौसलों से उड़ान होती है, हौसलों से उड़ान होती है। ये हमारे हौसले बढ़ाने वाले नागपुर में एक ही व्यक्ति है, द वन एंड ओनली हमारे लाडले मिनिस्टर गडकरी साहब, जिनके वजह से आज इतने सबके हौसले बुलंद होंगे। एंड आई होप दैट ऑल ऑफ यू विल टेक एडवांटेज ऑफ दिस रेवोल्यूशन in logistics by government of Maharashtra and be definitely benefited and be part of it. Thank you once again for this opportunity. Thank you.
I think there are a few questions to be asked. Can we do that after the second presentation, if that is okay? Now I would invite our second panelist, Shailesh Bhai Ved, to make a brief presentation, and then we'll take it from there.
ये जो इनिशिएटिव लिया है गडकरी साहब ने, वो सही में बहुत ही एक अच्छा इनिशिएटिव है जो कि विदर्भ के डेवलपमेंट में बहुत अच्छा रोल प्ले करने वाला है। अभी हम जो टॉपिक पे बात कर रहे हैं वो टॉपिक है कि लॉजिस्टिक्स इंडस्ट्री को कैसे, मतलब कोई इंडस्ट्री के लिए लॉजिस्टिक्स कितना इंपॉर्टेंट है, कैसे इसको ग्रो करने में मदद करेगा। साथ साथ में मैं एक 2-3 स्लाइड भी लूंगा जो महाराष्ट्र के पॉलिसी के बारे में हमारे देवधर साहब ने बताया है, काफी डिटेल में बताया है। धन्यवाद देवधर साहब, काफी मेरा भी इनसाइट काफी बढ़ गया है इसके अंदर में। और बेसिकली जो पहले पैनलिस्ट थे उन्होंने बताया कि लॉजिस्टिक्स क्या है। लॉजिस्टिक्स एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट रोल प्ले करता है कोई भी इंडस्ट्री को ग्रो करने में, कोई भी इंडस्ट्री को डेवलप करने में। और यदि लॉजिस्टिक्स को सिंपल भाषा में समझा जाए तो ये है कि जो प्रोडक्शन सेंटर है उसके लिए रॉ मटेरियल अवेलेबिलिटी करना और कंज्यूमर तक के माल को पहुंचाना। यदि हम ये करने में कामयाब होते हैं तो हमारा लॉजिस्टिक्स अच्छा है, ये बोल सकते हैं। लॉजिस्टिक्स बैकबोन है, कोई भी एक इंडस्ट्रीज का इकोसिस्टम का बैकबोन है। उसका काम है रॉ मटेरियल, जैसे मैं बताया आपको कि इंपोर्टेड मटेरियल यदि पोर्ट से आ रहा है तो कैसे रॉ मटेरियल पहुंचेगा उस इंडस्ट्री तक के, और यदि वहां प्रोडक्शन हो रहा है तो कैसे कंज्यूमर तक के पहुंचेगा या कैसे पोर्ट तक के पहुंचेगा जहां से आगे कंज्यूमर तक के पहुंचे। तो हमने जैसा भी बताया कि लॉजिस्टिक्स को समझना है, उसका ऑपरेशंस कैसे ऑप्टिमाइज होगा, उससे कॉस्ट रिडक्शन कैसे होगा और कस्टमर कैसे सेटिस्फाई होगा। तो बेसिकली जो इम्प्रूवमेंट है कोई भी प्रोडक्शन करने में, लॉजिस्टिक्स बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट रोल प्ले करता है। नहीं सिर्फ कि बाहर से जो माल लाने में, अंदर में प्लांट के अंदर में भी लॉजिस्टिक्स का बहुत बड़ा रोल होता है। और रिसोर्सेज को कैसे यूटिलाइज करते हैं हम लोग, रिसोर्सेज को यूटिलाइज करना है, प्रोडक्टिविटी बढ़ाना है, और उससे हमारी कॉम्पिटिटिवनेस बढ़ेंगी, उससे कॉस्ट रिडक्शन होगा और हमारा डोमेस्टिक और इंटरनेशनल मार्केट में हम अपने कॉम्पिटिटिव एज पे रह सकते हैं। लॉजिस्टिक्स क्या कर सकता है? लॉजिस्टिक्स हमारा जो ट्रेड को बढ़ावा दे सकता है, इन्वेस्टमेंट्स को अट्रैक्ट कर सकता है, जॉब्स क्रिएट कर सकता है। आज की तारीख में जो बहुत रोजगार का जो इशू है, लॉजिस्टिक्स के अंदर बहुत सारे जॉब्स क्रिएट हो सकते हैं। और हमारी इकोनॉमी में, मतलब जो ग्लोबलाइज्ड इकोनॉमी है उस तक के हम लोग पहुंच सकते हैं ड्यू टू लॉजिस्टिक्स में यदि इंप्रूवमेंट करते हैं तो हम लोग। सर ये महाराष्ट्र लॉजिस्टिक्स के अलावा बेसिकली लॉजिस्टिक्स क्या है उसके अंदर में मैं कर रहा हूं कि लॉजिस्टिक्स में कॉस्ट कैसे कम हो सकती है। लॉजिस्टिक्स में कॉस्ट कम करने के लिए हमारा यदि इन्वेंट्री लेवल कम होता है, जैसे भी हमारे पैनलिस्ट ने बताया कि कैसे मटेरियल को हम जस्ट इन टाइम लेके आ सकते हैं, कब हमको लगने वाला है मटेरियल और कब हम यूज करते हैं। आजकल टेक्नोलॉजी बहुत अच्छी हो गई है जी। मैं काफी कंपनियों के वेयरहाउसिंग करता हूं, तो उसमें यह है कि मटेरियल का ट्रांजिट में हम लोग वॉइस सिस्टम से या बाकी सिस्टम से देख सकते हैं, और भी जो बिल ऑफ लेडिंग यदि इंपोर्टेड मटेरियल का आ रहा है, उससे इन्फॉर्मेशन मिल रहा है कि हिटाची से माल क्या मिलने वाला है हमको, और माल आने के बाद में हम लोग कैसे उसको स्टॉक में लेंगे, सामने हमारे पास में ऑर्डर्स कितने हैं, कैसे हम मटेरियल को डिस्पैच करेंगे, कम से कम स्टोर करेंगे हमारे यहाँ पे, उसके बेसिस पे ही हम लोग अपना इन्वेंट्री कैरिंग कॉस्ट भी कम कर सकते हैं, प्लस साथ में उससे प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी बढ़ सकती है। यानी बेसिकली एज ए सर्विस प्रोवाइडर मैं मेरी कंपनी को ये रोल प्ले करता हूं, तो मेरी कंपनी 2 पैसा कमाएंगी, साथ साथ में रोजगार भी बढ़ेंगे, मेरी कंपनी भी सर्वाइव होंगी, और मेरे साथ में जो लोग हैं वो भी आगे बढ़ सकते हैं। लॉजिस्टिक्स को बहुत सिंपल भाषा में यदि हम लोग एक हिंदी में समझाने की कोशिश करूं, तो सही माल को, सही मटेरियल को सही कागज के साथ में सही समय पर यदि मैं पहुंचा देता हूं, वो ही सही लॉजिस्टिक्स है। एक सही कागज के साथ में, बहुत सिंपल भाषा में इसको मैं बताने की कोशिश कर रहा हूं।
उसमें बहुत सारे सही आते हैं ना।
हाँ, और सही कंडीशन में 5 सही आते बेसिकली। सही कंडीशन में यदि मैं माल पहुंचा रहा हूं तो सही लॉजिस्टिक्स है। तो टाइमली डिलीवरी बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है लॉजिस्टिक्स सिस्टम के अंदर में, और ये टाइमली डिलीवरी से हम लोग कस्टमर को रिटेन कर सकते हैं। ये लॉजिस्टिक्स का जो है ना, कोई एडवर्टाइजमेंट नहीं होता। मेरे साथ में बाकी लोग बैठे हैं लॉजिस्टिक्स के, तो इसका कोई होर्डिंग्स पे हमारे एडवर्टाइजमेंट नहीं होती है, ये वर्ड ऑफ माउथ से होता है। चाहे सीए की एडवर्टाइजमेंट है या जो कस्टम का बॉन्डेड वेयरहाउस का काम कर रहा है, सभी के लिए जो है ना कि भाई इनका काम अच्छा है, इनके यहाँ काम करने से ये फायदा हो रहा है। ये कस्टमर कैसे हम लोग, अच्छा एशियन पेंट हो या टाटा हिटाची हो या कोई भी कंपनी का हम यदि वेयरहाउसिंग कर रहे हैं, तो हमारी रेमंड्स की तो एडवर्टाइज हो सकती है बोर्ड के ऊपर, लेकिन रेमंड्स का जो सर्विस प्रोवाइडर उसकी एडवर्टाइजमेंट नहीं हो सकती है। तो हमारी एडवर्टाइजमेंट जो होंगी वो रेमंड्स कंपनी के लोग करेंगे कि हम कैसा काम कर रहे हैं, या हम एशियन पेंट करेंगे कि हम कैसा काम कर रहे हैं। तो बेसिकली वो हमारी टीम, जो हमारी लीडरशिप है और हमारी टीम जो काम कर रही है, उसमें हमारे लोगों से हमारा इंटरेक्शन ये भी बहुत जरूरी है रेगुलर कोर्स में। आज वेयरहाउसिंग, नागपुर में वेयरहाउसेस बहुत हैं, फ्लीट भी बहुत है, लेकिन फ्लीट को चलाने के लिए आज जो ड्राइवर्स है वो अगली जनरेशन में ड्राइवर्स हमको मिलना थोड़ा पॉसिबल होना कम हो रहा है, क्योंकि आज ड्राइवर्स के बच्चे भी जो है डेफिनेटली सबको आगे बढ़ने का ये होना चाहिए कि आगे बढ़ना है, तो वो लोग भी कंप्यूटर आईटी इंडस्ट्री में जा रहे हैं। ड्राइवर्स, अब बेसिकली ड्राइवर तैयार करना पड़ेगा हम लोगों को, वो एक हमारे लिए एक चैलेंज है ड्राइवर्स तैयार करना। और वेयरहाउसिंग में काफी पैनलिस्ट ने बताया हम लोगों को पहले, और हमारे सुधीर जी ने बताया कि हम लोगों को जो ट्रेनिंग इंस्टीट्यूट्स है, लॉजिस्टिक्स एक बहुत बड़ा, पहले क्या था साहब कि लॉजिस्टिक्स को ये आज की तारीख में हम लोग वेयरहाउसिंग और अच्छे अच्छे वर्ड्स यूज कर रहे हैं, पहले इसको माल गोदाम या गोदाम टाइप का वर्ड यूज किया जाता था। आज जो है ये बेसिकली वेयरहाउसिंग और ये सब अच्छे नाम हम दे रहे हैं, डेफिनेटली काम भी अच्छा है, बट यहाँ पे जो काम करने वाला व्यक्ति है वो अपने आप को समझता है कि वो बाकी के कंपैरिजन में अपने आप को हीन समझता है। तो हमको ये बताना बहुत जरूरी है उनको कि ये लॉजिस्टिक्स में आप कितना इंपॉर्टेंट रोल प्ले कर रहे हैं, कि कस्टमर तक जब माल पहुंच रहा है और कस्टमर के चेहरे पे जब डिलाइट आ रही है, जब खुशी आ रही है, तो लॉजिस्टिक्स का, जैसे एक कंपनी के अंदर फाइनेंस का या एक कंपनी के अंदर में ऑपरेशंस का जो भी एक एक अलग अलग डिपार्टमेंट है, लॉजिस्टिक्स भी एक अनिवार्य डिपार्टमेंट है। लॉजिस्टिक्स डिपार्टमेंट यदि काम नहीं करेगा तो कंपनी की सक्सेस मुश्किल है। मैं ये शब्दों में बोलूंगा, मुश्किल है। मल्टी मॉडल ट्रांसपोर्ट के बारे में पहले पैनल ने काफी बताया है, तो मैं उसको स्किप करना चाहूंगा। वैसे 4 टाइप के ट्रांसपोर्टेशन होते हैं, रोड, रेल, वाटरवेज और एयर। तो बेसिकली सन 2000 में हम लोगों ने इस मल्टी मॉडल को 2000 में हमने स्टार्ट कर दिया, जब हमने हमारे क्लाइंट्स को बोला कि आप नागपुर तक के रेल से माल भेजिए और नागपुर से हम लोग बाकी के माल, जब जो नागपुर को हब के तरीके से यूज करिए, और बाकी को स्पोक बना करके हम लोग ने यहाँ से काफी मतलब हैदराबाद, धारवाड़ तक के कवर कर रहे हैं, गोवा, सिलवासा और पूरा गुजरात, पूरा महाराष्ट्र, एमपी में इंदौर, भोपाल, जबलपुर, ये पूरे एरिया को राइट फ्रॉम 2000 हम लोग कवर करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं। तो मैं अभी इसको स्किप कर रहा हूं, जो हमारे शिवराव साहब ने काफी पहले डिस्कशन कर चुके इसके ऊपर। महाराष्ट्र लॉजिस्टिक्स पॉलिसी के बारे में काफी देवधर साहब ने काफी अच्छा बताया है। बस मैं इसमें इतना बताना चाहूंगा कि ये जो पॉलिसी है ये काफी रोबस्ट इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर बनाने के लिए बनाई गई है, जहां पे गुड्स का अक्रॉस द स्टेट हम लोगों का अच्छे से मूवमेंट हो पाएगा। डेवलपमेंट ऑफ लॉजिस्टिक्स पार्क है और ट्रांसपोर्ट नेटवर्क को इंप्रूव करना, ये इस पॉलिसी का मकसद है। साथ में डिजिटल लॉजिस्टिक्स सॉल्यूशन, ये भी एक इम्पॉर्टेंट पार्ट है इसका। जितना हम डिजिटलाइजेशन करेंगे, या गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से होगा या प्राइवेट प्लेयर्स करेंगे इसके अंदर में महाराष्ट्र के अंदर हम लोग लॉजिस्टिक्स को सुधार सकते हैं। इसके की फीचर्स जैसे हमारे देवधर साहब ने बताया, बाकी भी पैनलिस्ट ने बताया है कि इंटीग्रेटेड लॉजिस्टिक्स पार्क बनाना है जिसमें कि मॉडर्न फैसिलिटीज हो, अपग्रेडेशन करना है, रोड का, रेल का नेटवर्क का, पोर्ट से कनेक्टिविटी बढ़ाना है, और पीपीपी पब्लिक प्राइवेट पार्टनरशिप को एनकरेज कर रही है गवर्नमेंट। रियल टाइम ट्रैकिंग, जो कि टेक्नोलॉजी का इस्तेमाल करना है, रियल टाइम ट्रैकिंग, एफिशिएंट मैनेजमेंट ऑफ लॉजिस्टिक्स। सर मैं बताना चाहता हूं कि मेरी जो फ्लीट है इसके अंदर जो टेक्नोलॉजी का हमने इस्तेमाल किया है, काफी यहाँ पे लॉजिस्टिक्स के लोग हैं जो जानना चाहेंगे, मैं बताना चाहता हूं। हमने अपने टायर्स के अंदर RFID लगाया है। गाड़ी के अंदर में टायर्स जो रहते हैं वो टायर काफी रास्ते में चेंज भी हो जाते हैं। हमारे टायर और ट्यूब के अंदर RFID लगी हुई है। ये लगाया मैंने पिछले 20 साल पहले से कि टायर के अंदर में, मतलब ड्राइवर जो है रास्ते में टायर चेंज नहीं कर सकता। यदि टायर फट रहा है तो मेरा टायर फट रहा है। GPS सिस्टम हम लोगों ने 2000 में लेके आए हैं, जो ग्लोबल पोजीशनिंग सिस्टम है। रियल टाइम ट्रैकिंग कर रहे हैं हमारी गाड़ी कहाँ पे है। हमने जियो फेंसिंग करवाया, हमारे यहाँ का जियो फेंसिंग है, कस्टमर के यहाँ जियो फेंसिंग किया हुआ है। कभी कभी होता है कस्टमर के यहाँ बंद है आज, तो एक्नॉलेजमेंट होती नहीं है, डिलीवरी लेट होती है, पेनलाइज होता है ट्रांसपोर्टर, तो हम लोगों ने उसके लिए जियो फेंसिंग करवाया है। हमारी गाड़ी उस एरिया में घुस गई, मतलब हमने डिलीवरी पकड़ेंगे उसको हम लोग। और दूसरा है कि हम अपनी गाड़ियों को ये भी देख रहे हैं कि हमारा गाड़ी का ड्राइवर जो है, हमारा ड्राइवर का डिसिप्लिन देख रहे हैं हम लोग कि वो कितने स्पीड से गाड़ी चला रहा है, या उसका बिहेवियर कैसा है, गाड़ी के अंदर कहाँ स्टॉप कर रहा है, कौन से पर्टिकुलर ढाबे पे स्टॉप कर रहा है। तो हम लोगों ने हमारी जो एजेंसी, जिस एजेंसी से हम लोग सर्विस ले रहे हैं इस चीज की, GPS का, उससे बात करके हमने पर्टिकुलर ढाबे पे जहाँ पे मटेरियल का पिलफरेज होता है उसको भी हम लोगों ने जियो फेंस करवा दिया है कि वो एरिया में हमारी गाड़ी घुसना नहीं चाहिए। अब ये जो पॉलिसी है, महाराष्ट्र लॉजिस्टिक्स पॉलिसी है, ये हम लोग यदि सही मायने में इसका समझे, मतलब तो ये डिजाइन की गई है कि हम लोग जो महाराष्ट्र स्टेट में या विदर्भ में इस पॉलिसी में रह करके, अंतर्गत में आकर के, हम हमारे दूसरे जो कॉम्पिटिटर्स है उसमें हमारा कॉम्पिटिटिव एडवांटेज रहेगा हम लोगों का। एंश्योर करेंगे हम लोग एफिशिएंट और कॉस्ट इफेक्टिव लॉजिस्टिक सॉल्यूशंस देंगे इसके अंदर में। इसमें सिर्फ गवर्नमेंट को ही नहीं करना है, साथ साथ में जो एंटरप्रेन्योर्स है, स्टार्टअप्स है, सभी लोगों ने अपना रोल प्ले करना है। और इसमें हम लोग रिड्यूस कर सकते हैं ऑपरेशनल कॉस्ट को, डिलीवरी टाइमलाइंस को, हम लोग हमारी मार्केट रीच बढ़ जाएंगी। जो कॉस्ट सेविंग करेंगे, कॉस्ट सेविंग का पैसा जो हम भी कॉस्ट सेविंग करते हैं इसके अंदर, वो पैसे को हम अपने ही बिजनेस के अंदर दूसरे और डिपार्टमेंट में या दूसरी चीज में लगा करके वहां पे वो बिजनेस को फ्लरिश कर सकते हैं, वहां से भी प्रॉफिट निकल सकता है। और हम लोग सबसे अच्छी बात है कि इसके अंदर में काफी रोजगार के चांसेस है, काफी रोजगार बढ़ेगा इसके अंदर में, और इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ डेफिनेटली होंगी। इसके लिए जो मेरा अपना मानना है कि हम लोगों को डिजिटल ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन जाने बहुत जरूरी है। डिजिटल ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन नहीं की हम लोग तो इतना सक्सेसफुल नहीं हो पाएंगे। जैसा हमारा अग्रवाल जी ने बताया कि हमको इन्वेस्ट करना पड़ेगा स्किल्ड वर्कफोर्स के लिए, ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है। सस्टेनेबिलिटी के लिए हमको बहुत काम करने की जरूरत है। ग्रीन लॉजिस्टिक्स है, ग्रीन लॉजिस्टिक्स में आज हम लोगों ने नागपुर का सबसे पहला LNG व्हीकल, गडकरी साहब के हाथ से हमारा इनॉग्रेशन हुआ था। LNG व्हीकल हम लोगों ने नागपुर में लोकल लेवल में ट्राई करवाया, बट क्योंकि इसके अंदर में जो LNG सब जगह अवेलेबिलिटी नहीं थी, इसलिए हम लोगों को इसको कुछ टाइम के लिए स्टॉप करना पड़ा। अभी टाटा मोटर्स से हम लोग LNG की बात चल रही है हम लोगों की, और 25 गाड़ी का हम लोगों ने ऑर्डर दिया है, और हम लोग फ्लीट ओनर्स के अंदर नागपुर के अंदर में LNG व्हीकल्स लेके आने वाले पहले व्यक्ति रहेंगे। ग्रीन वेयरहाउसेस है, ग्रीन वेयरहाउसेस बनाना, सस्टेनेबिलिटी में अपना जितना भी आज की तारीख में हम सोलर पावर यूज कर सकते हैं। सोलर पावर में इलेक्ट्रिक को ये बोला जा रहा है ये पॉलिसी के अंदर में कि हम लोग उसको इंडस्ट्रियल रेट पे पावर देंगे, बट आज की तारीख में लॉजिस्टिक्स को कमर्शियल पावर लग रहा है। तो कमर्शियल पावर के लिए हम लोगों को सोलर यदि हम लोग लगाते हैं, तो सोलर लगाने के बाद में हमारा कॉस्ट सेविंग बहुत ज्यादा है उसके अंदर, लॉजिस्टिक्स के अंदर में। तो सस्टेनेबल बिजनेस बहुत जरूरी है मॉडल हम लोगों का। ऑटोमेशन वेयरहाउसिंग में हम लोगों ने बाकी सब वेयरहाउसेस में सुना हुआ है काफी कि रैकिंग सिस्टम और ऑटोमेटिक सिस्टम, बट स्टील हैंडलिंग के अंदर ऑटोमाइजेशन के बारे में बहुत कम लोगों ने सुना होगा, जो कि 32,000 किलो का कॉइल या 20 टन का बंडल टीएमटी का या 12 टन की प्लेट, इसके अंदर में विदाउट मैन पावर काम कैसे होता है। तो ये इसमें काफी टाटा स्टील ने इनिशिएटिव लिया हुआ है और ये सब पूरा 100% ऑटोमाइजेशन किया गया है कि फ्लोर पे कोई व्यक्ति ही नहीं है काम करने के लिए, और ऑटोमाइज वेयरहाउस जो कि 60,000 से 1 लाख टन का काम चल रहा है। तो वो लॉजिस्टिक्स का एक अच्छा एग्जाम्पल है। तो बेसिकली रोल ऑफ लॉजिस्टिक्स जो है वो फैसिलिटेट करना है इंडस्ट्रियल ग्रोथ को, इकोनॉमिक डेवलपमेंट को। आज की तारीख में जैसे चैलेंज मैंने बताया, हमको स्किल्ड मैन पावर और गवर्नमेंट के क्लियरेंसेस का जो इशू है वो भी है। यदि हम लोग इस पॉलिसी में जाते हैं तो बहुत अच्छा है, नहीं जा पाए कोई कारण से, क्योंकि जैसे बताया गया कि आपने जैसे बताया कि 2 ही व्यक्ति हर डिस्ट्रिक्ट में इस पॉलिसी में जा सकते हैं स्मॉल में। तो उसको ये गवर्नमेंट को ये करना पड़ेगा इसके अंदर कि जो बाहर में भी जितने भी इंडस्ट्री लगाना है, जिसको लगाना है लॉजिस्टिक्स की फैसिलिटी, सबको इसके अंदर कवर करना बहुत जरूरी है। और इसके अंदर इंसेंटिव सभी के लिए होना चाहिए, नहीं कि पर्टिकुलर एरिया में कर रहे हैं उसी के लिए ये उनको ही इंसेंटिव से वगैरह मिलेंगे। थैंक यू वेरी मच, धन्यवाद।
Hello. Thank you, Shailesh bhai. Now, I will request the audience for a few questions that they had. I know, sir, you had a question. So, can someone pass the mic there? Please say your name and the question is if it is for the panel or for someone in particular.
Hello. Sir, myself Ganveer Singh, sir. And I just wanted to know about the logistic policy. So it has been informed that it's a fairly new policy. So has there been any incentives transferred to any private sector or any government sector? And plus this capital subsidy, is it applicable during construction or post the entire development has been taken up?
On your first part of the question, since the policy was introduced in 2024, till date, I don't think it has been pushed out or any subsidiary has been granted till date. But yes, people are making applications, people are making project reports for that, and people are submitting those applications for subsidy. And the second part is, will it be given during the phase of construction or once completion? So it will be given after completion once the FCI norms have been met as to how much have you been invested and those things have been met. So the subsidy will come at a later stage, not during construction.
Sir, which would be the parent department for which we have to put the applications?
So the department is
The department will be DIC, but DIC को देने के बाद में they will transfer it to MIDC so far as the sanctions are concerned. कि आपकी लैंड सही है, आपकी बिल्डिंग सही है, बिल्डिंग सही बनी है, and when MIDC gives a confirmation that whatever was as per the plan has been constructed and they give a BCC, that is building clearance completion certificate, then the file will come to DIC and accordingly they will disburse. That is how it is.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Ma'am in the front. Yes, sir.
My name is Abhinav Gupta. We are building a logistics park on Amravati Road, small scale. A few challenges that we've been facing as entrepreneurs that I would just like to highlight it for you and for the audience as well. Even though the policy, it's fairly new right now. The single window clearance is still not very helpful right now. As opposed to the old policy, the new policy says that the governing authority will still be an MIDA. That we were facing a lot of hurdles with respect to dealing with an MIDA. Just like Sir said that DIC is obviously there, But initially for the 2018 policy, the governing authority was MIDC.
MIDC.
But right now, the governing authority is the local NMID authority according to the new policy. So that has changed from the last policy. And also the Maitri cell, that is the single window that we need to deal with right now. And they are still in the process of reintegrating everything, taking everything online, all the applications and everything online. So that's a few challenges that as entrepreneurs, like I have a lot of friends who have land parcels in Nagpur and would like to invest as well. But because of these challenges, they're taking a step back. So although the policy is fairly new, I know that clarity would still be there. That I just wanted to highlight a few challenges that we've been facing. Also had a few questions regarding the policy. They've said that green, if we, I think the minimum 10% power generation if you are generating via green initiatives. They're only, I think, the incentives, non-fiscal incentives is related to the electricity rate, I think. So I think on the green front, if they also increase, I mean,
from 10% to more.
Yeah, I mean, if they increase that as well, and also the benefits, like only right now, only if you have at least 10% green, generating 10%, minimum 10% via green modes, you're only getting incentives on electricity rate. If the government can probably make some changes or maybe some fiscal benefits related to that, that would also help us more on the solar electricity generation part.
Thank you for your feedback and thank you for highlighting the challenges. Yes, as entrepreneur, not only you, but a lot of people are facing challenges. The single window, so to say, is there, but it takes time and still you need to get approval from other places. But looking forward, this policy has a lot of upside that it is offering in terms of capital subsidy. Up until now, what we were talking about in the 2018 policy was mainly facilitation, ease of doing business and single window. But having provide capital subsidy is a big step forward. Number two, it is not just for the small, the large ones, but even for MSMEs, which are operating in the logistics sector. So I'm saying a small single person entrepreneur can also look at maybe starting their own freight terminal, truck terminal, or something like that, and that could add a lot of benefit to them. So I think this is a very positive policy. Yes, there will be challenges. There are feedback that we will be giving. Like a good feedback came from the other sir that from the small category, they straight away jump to a large category. They might need something in the middle for a medium category, for somebody who's willing to do it on maybe 20-25 acres of land, investing about 50 crores. So something similar. So all of these suggestions will go as part of AID's suggestion to the government in terms of this policy and how it can help bring more logistic investment into Nagpur, especially encouraging Nagpur entrepreneurs, the youngsters, to get into the logistics sector. So with that, if there are more questions, we are happy to take them. Otherwise, we have a panel waiting on the next session on farming. So I think we can conclude. So last round of questions, if any. In the meantime, I'd like to offer a vote of thanks to first AID and our beloved Minister Shri Gadkari ji for organizing this Advantage Vidarbha and having a specific session on logistics sector. Our convener Shiv Kumar Rao sir for putting together all the hard work and coordinating with the different panel speakers. Our panel speakers who've taken time from their valuable schedule to kind of give their insights, and thank you to the organizers and most importantly to the audience, because of you we are here. We want to interact with you. We want to impart some of our experiences, expertise with you, and hope that we communicate with each other, we coordinate with each other, and we see you making investment in the logistics sector so that Nagpur truly becomes the logistic hub of India. Thank you so much.
Hello.
Thank you so much, dear speakers, for offering valuable insights. Thank you, Mr. Agrawal, for being such a fantastic moderator. And thank you so much, audience, for participating. Our next session is for, we are going to discuss about potential of dairy sector in Vidarbha. So I request everyone kindly be seated and we'll start our next panel momentarily.